Well, it's the most wonderful time of the week, time yet again for another list of Super Six. Dom, obviously we had a huge one on Friday in the Wintersville Classic, and this week, really big one for the state of Florida.
Yeah, no question about it. We've learned a lot. The last few weeks of the season even have more matchups that we're going to have our eye on, and there will be potential for even more shakeups in the Super Six, so I'm very excited. But yeah, you said it.
All right, then let's go ahead and get started, and let's start in South Georgia. Number 6 remains the Brooks County Trojans. That means Early's just on the outside looking in. They're going to have a huge opportunity. They play and host the Trojans on Friday night.
Yeah, you know, Ryan's been clamoring for Early to get in those Super Six rankings, despite popular belief. I didn't nix it. Just had, you know, Brooks ahead of them, but we get to settle it on the field this week. It's a huge matchup. Early's ranked number 1 in Class 1A Division 2. Brooks, of course, top 5 in Class 1A Division 1. What more could you ask for 1A football?
And of course, one of the big strange things, Brooks hasn't played football in a month. they literally have.
Doesn't it seem that way?
Maurice Freeman says it's one of the strangest things he's ever seen. They literally have not played for 4 straight weeks.
That's insane. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Does it get you out of your rhythm? I guess we'll see on Friday.
Yeah, rest versus rust. We'll see exactly what the Trojans and the Bobcats do. Number 5 is still the Cook Hornets, which means that number 4 is still the Lowndes Vikings. They don't move a spot after losing the Wintersville Classic to Valdosta. Look, this is a Lowndes team with 3 losses, but we just kind of chatted to ourselves, if you put these 2 teams on a neutral field, who do we think would win? And we think Lowndes would win a close game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should punish Lowndes for losing to one of the best teams in the best classification in Georgia and Valdosta. To be frank with you, I thought Valdosta would handle this game pretty easily, but man, Lowndes really impressed me. Their physicality, they're a young football team. They had many chances to tie that game up. They were right there in the thick of things in that Wintersville Classic. It just didn't seem right to punish them for a nice loss.
3-2-1, no changes here. Thomas County Central off a win against Tift County, where they were a little slow starting, but they finished strong. Valdosta stays number 2 after winning Wintersville, but Colquitt not denied. They are still our top spot.
Yeah, Thomas County Central gets a bye week, maybe a much-needed bye week after 7 straight weeks of wins for the Yellow Jackets.
Or if you're on a roll, do you really want that bye week?
Who knows? It's getting late in the year. Maybe guys get little bruises, some nicks and bruises, but man, the Yellow Jackets, they just continue to punch the clock, keep getting those wins. Valdosta, obviously one of the best wins of their season this past Friday. In Colquitt County, what are you going to say? One of the most talented teams in our area. Heck, the nation maybe. And they got Camden County. Yes, want to get that right this week. Valdosta's got Richmond Hill.
All right, let's keep on moving on, shall we? To the Big Bend now. No change at number 6, the Sneads Pirates. They are the class of 1A rural, at least here in the Big Bend right now. And the RPI certainly seems to back that up as well.
They could run the table. Who says no, right? I mean, they are looking really, really good right there. A lot of our 1 rural teams are looking good, 1 suburban as well. And Sneads just shot up our rankings, and they're going to stay there until they have a hiccup, and I don't foresee one.
Yeah, the only thing that could really happen if they play in that Sunshine State Athletic Conference Championship game against Port St. Joe, that would be a phenomenal game between the Pirates and the Sharks. All right, just one change on either of our lists this week, and it's right here at number 5, St. John Paul II. They fall in a heartbreaker, a huge come-from-behind almost victory at Wakulla, but number 4 is the North Florida Christian Eagles. They were dominant over FAMU DRS. They were expected to be dominant against the Baby Rattlers, but the way in which they've just dispatched everybody, the way they've taken care of everybody. You can argue JP2's maybe had a slightly tougher schedule, but the RPI backs us up on this one, and the eye test, there's just so many weapons. Again, there's a great chance we're going to see this one in the postseason.
Yeah, this isn't a product of what happened just last week.
Correct.
I think this is a body of work type of deal with NFC. JP2, listen, this was their first real test of the season, and even in a loss, I contend they passed. And this isn't that JP2 did something wrong. I mean, they lost by 3 to a really talented Wakulla War Eagles team. But NFC, man, they're averaging 43.5 points. They're holding opponents to less than 5. Like you said, they've just made light work of everybody on their schedule. And listen, you win the games you play. JP2 still a really talented football team. This one had some discussion between Ryan and I, but yes, I think the NFC deserves to be a spot higher than JP2.
All right, we already kind of buried the lead. That means there's no change at 3-2-1. The Wakulla War Eagles stave off the Panthers. At number 2, we keep the Lincoln Trojans, and at number 1, we keep the Seminoles of Florida high, all three looking like they're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, Wakulla's got Taylor County this week. They got Sewanee and NFC, though, looming on the horizon. That NFC Wakulla game, man, does that have the potential to be a Big 12 shootout or what?
Yeah.
That could be fun. Lincoln, listen, off back-to-back losses, they finally get back in the win column against Leon. That has to feel good. Their 2 losses have been really talented football teams, so Lincoln gets back in the win column. They got Rickers this week. Florida High, so well coached, punching the clock. They made light work of a Monroe Bobcats team who is so talented. They made it look easy, 42-7. They got Godby this week, but man, does Florida High look good.
Another great Super Six list. By the way, I wanted to clarify something. We're just going to keep this in for the YouTube audience. We got some questions last week about the Super Six, about why Doherty's not in this list. And Doherty is a fantastic football team. They are, however, not in our DMA. When we say DMA, we mean the media area that WCTV covers. There's a lot of great teams in South Georgia outside of our jurisdiction. Doherty's among them. A lot of the Albany teams are among them.
Right.
Coffee paid a visit here. They're fantastic. We know all about head coach Mike Coe there. Of course, used to be the head coach at Madison. But for those of you who watch us only on a digital platform, we only count the teams inside our media market. And even then, a couple of those are pretty close to Albany's neck of the woods.
Right.
Colquitt could go either way. Miller could go either way. So it is a little subjective, but for the most part, it's mostly just going to be places where you can pick up Channel 6 on the bunny ears.
Right, and Albany and us are very close, and we overlap a lot of times, so that may be where some confusion lies. But no disrespect to Doherty, but, you know, I think we're comfortable with our Super Six.
Absolutely. We most certainly are. Hey, we'll see you next week.